Wintry, Merry Christmas. Welcome everyone. Tushar, Sonali. Good morning, Nilanshu. Yes, good morning, Amit. Let's have your videos on. Good morning, Shalaka. Good morning, Rajesh. Let's have your videos on. And thank you once again for being here on a holiday for another interesting expert speak session by Plan to Win. By now, you know that the program Plan to Win is a life management system giving you access to achieving your goals with the right strategies and the techniques, plus the attitude you need to make the most of that precious time. And Plan to Win is a space which creates creates you for realizing and creating your goals. With 2022 around the corner, let's talk about our health goals. I love being healthy and fit. I've been taking health and fitness sessions in Plan to Win as well, just so that I can have a command over my health and my community's health. But we are all on a holiday spree. We are all traveling. How can I follow my health diet on the go? That was the question which was bothering all of us. And is that your problem too? I am sure that a lot of you will be going on holidays. A healthy diet is an important cornerstone of our good health. But that doesn't mean it's always easy to eat healthy when you're going, especially munching on the snacks and whatever comes your way. The timing goes haywire, circadian rhythms go haywire. It poses its unique challenges. We may be tempted to skip meals. It may be hard to purchase good meals. Who'll go out and purchase good meals? So whether you're rushing out in the morning, whether you're dining out, attending a family gathering, traveling, attending that wedding, even heading into a quarantine, what are the ways that can save you the stress of knowing what to do so that you can continue nourishing your body and maintain a balanced diet? Welcome to Plan to Win Expert Speak session on Follow Your Diet even on travel mode. I'm your host and Plan to Win super leader Gitanjali Kasliwal. Today, let us welcome a multifaceted personality. We have with us Mrs. Ruchita Rani.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Ruchita. Let me share about her personality. There?
So, Ruchita, maybe this little breakdown and she'll be back soon. Yeah.
Am I there? Can you see me?
We can't see you, Gitanjali. Now we can see you. Yes.
Oh
Great.
my God, my computer fell down. Wow, talk about breakdowns. आपके नाम ने हिला दिया कंप्यूटर को, रुचिता जी.
We have started with a bang. This is going to be a great session.
Christmas bang. Okay. So I'll share about Ruchita ji. She is a passionate nutritional counselor. She's a multidisciplinarian with an MPhil in education. Masters in Sanskrit. You will be amazed, everyone, what kind of a person she is. And I'm sure she has many more facets than just nutrition, which she is going to bring to Expert Speak with us. Yes, Ruchita? She's a master's in Sanskrit with specialization in Vedanta philosophy, master's in biochemistry, specialization in food and nutrition, PG diploma in business management, B.Ed, PG diploma in comparative mythology, diplomas in yoga, Ayurveda, policy studies, manuscriptology, wow, counseling and Bharatnatyam, and is currently working towards her PhD. Wow. Gold medalist in Sanskrit, recipient of prestigious Jagannath Shankar Seth Scholarship. She has authored books, self-help books, and created 4,000 modules of digital learning material for Sanskrit for educational institutions. She is an independent researcher, conducts experiential learning, workshops, and motivational lectures for adolescents, conducts courses on Yuktahar and holistic well-being. She engages in dialogue with youth to motivate them for understanding food holistically and bettering their approach to food and healthy living. Currently, as part of her work, she is working on a project pertaining to enhancing the socio-economic growth and development of Jammu and Kashmir. And friends, when I spoke to her first, she was in fact about to board her flight on to Jammu. So I was like, wow, the topic is perfect. How does she keep her nutrition on when she's even flying everywhere? So on the go. So over to you, Ruchita ji. Please share tips. Please share your expert tips with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Namaste and Merry Christmas to all of you. First and foremost, I am extremely grateful to first Darshana, because she's the one who introduced me to Ms. Gitanjali. And I'm extremely grateful to Darshana and Mrs. Gitanjali for this opportunity, and more so to Plan to Win. So thank you for inviting me, and I'm really looking forward to this because yes, that's something which is the need of the hour. You have already set the ball rolling with the topic, Gitanjali ji. So thank you so much. Well, when it comes to nutrition, first and foremost, I think most of us, when we talk of nutrition, we think about only eating, right? Well, but nutrition is much more than that. But the other aspects of it would be maybe for some other day. So today it is all about holiday season, travel, and of course, you need to keep yourself going, so you need to eat. But most often, don't you think that when you're traveling out, you're going for a new experience? You want to know what the world is like. You're going to some particular place. You want to know what that place is like, the culture, the cuisine, and then you're talking of nutrition on the go. So how does that match? Isn't that absolutely contradictory? Well, it might seem so, but certain basics always remain the same. So that's something which we are going to address today. And like Gitanjali ji said, okay, some tips, right? So tips are actually simple. And with the lockdown, I think the lockdown has really been an impetus for most of us to get our health in place, or must I say action. Well, so when it comes to what to eat, what is it? We have to simple. Everything is simple because we always say life is simple. It's only we who complicate it. So if life is simple, then obviously something about nutrition has to be simple. So what's it? We simply have to have smart goals. We set these goals in our life and we say, okay, it's all management. You have this formula, SMART. And then what is smart about nutrition? If we know what SMART stands for, which I think all of us know that SMART is nothing but S is specific, M is measurable, you have A, which is achievable, R is relevant, and T is time bound. So if we know what SMART is, that's exactly what we need to do about our nutrition. Now, this is irrespective of whether we are on the go or whether we are stationary, but more so when we are on the go because the challenge is there. So we'll be coming to each of these aspects, and given the time, of course, nutrition is a very vast topic, but what we are talking specifically about is on the go. Now, irrespective of which part of the world we come from, whether we are based in India or whether we are based anywhere else, irrespective of that, we are eating. But as Indians, mostly everything for us revolves around food, right? Even before our birth and even after our death, everything revolves around food. And when it comes to anything social, food is the priority. I'm sure most of us want to go for a chat, want to meet up, catch up on a friend, and then where most of the places that we decide to are eateries. Okay, if they are not eateries, yet, even if it's at home, by the time your friend is home, there is a gamut of things that you have put forth or planned for your snack or your beverages or something or the other to go inside your mouth. So for us, everything really revolves around food. But we need to importantly remember this, that food is just a part of us. It is not us as such. So when we are making our arrangements for the day, now this plan that we are setting is for the move, which is not just on a holiday, but now because it's the holiday season, yes. Otherwise, most of us are rushing back and forth, maybe with our work or whatever our schedules are for, whatever we are doing, even then we are on the go. So what we are trying to look at in handling smart with regards to nutrition is about every single day, irrespective whether you're on the go, whether you're traveling or it's a holiday, but more so then. So when we are looking at our nutritional needs. Most of the time, I think today everybody's talking about carbohydrates and proteins and vitamins and minerals and fats, and we break our food into all this bit, and then we get so complicated, we don't know what we have to eat. I think it's very important, and that's what our culture has actually taught us, to look at food as a whole. And if you look at food as a whole, then everything becomes really easy. Oh, then you'll say, I'm a diabetic, I have hypertension and whatever. We don't have this. It's just a part that's attached to us, but we attach that to us. My hypertension, my diabetes. Well, it's not yours. So let it be. It's just there. You need to handle it. So when you look at food as a whole, you will understand more and more about how you can eat certain specific things, and just a little bit can keep you going. But that's where we go wrong. So the first thing is to be very specific. Now we have our own kind of formulae for breakfast, for lunch. You can have this for this time, that for that time. Well, it simply is based on your digestion. And if you can keep this at the back of your mind, that you are what you eat, you are what you digest. And that's so about our life as well, right? When you can digest certain situations and certain things, you rise above them, right? So it's all about what you eat and what you digest. Now, our body is set by the clock, not the clock that we put up on our wall or on our wrists, but the clock of the sun, the diurnal cycle. Our body has a diurnal cycle, which means the sun tells us, come on, wake up. Come on, it's peak time. Come on, now it's time to rest. The sun is telling us this. Are we listening? Many times not. And that's where we mess up with our food as well. Have you thought of eating biryani first thing in the morning for breakfast? Of course, you can eat it. What's the problem? No, you can't really. Why not? It's just about taking it and putting it in your mouth? No. If you understand that is higher, it's in calories, it's heavy to digest, that's not the first thing you're going to have. That's why our breakfasts are designed in such a way that we don't eat all these heavy stuff in the morning. Because as the sun rises, your body's metabolism is slowly going to rise. Then when it comes to about 12, between 12 and 2, it's at the peak. And that's why you must have just a few basics before we put it on the go. Otherwise, it becomes difficult to understand. And I like to keep it easy. So 12 to 2 is the peak where you know that you're going to feel hungry at this time. You can feel that if you don't eat between 12 and 2, you suddenly have acidity and these kind of problems. So that means the sun is at the peak. Your body's metabolism is at the peak. The body is saying, come on, give it to me now. And after 2, the power of the sun, the heat of the sun, the brightness of the sun is dimming down. And that's telling you, look, boss, your body is also going to set in a while. So that's when we start eating lighter foods and stop eating heavier foods. And then it's sunset when you're not supposed to consume anything solid. You're saying, what a whack she is. She's talking nonsense. How can it be our dinners happen only at 9 and 10 and half the time we cook? And when we are traveling on the go, our dinner times are going to be haywire. Then, what is she, crazy? I'm sure you're thinking that, but not so. If we can be a little smart about this, we'll be able to handle even this and still enjoy the cuisine of the places or your daily dinners or the time with your family that you spend around food as well. So having known this, now we become specific. What is it that we are going to have in the morning, at lunch, at snack, and at dinner time? Well, you can have 4 to 5 meals. In fact, it's best to break up, depending on your body constitution, of course. Better to have small 5 to 6 meals than to have very large meals. Yes, I know with intermittent fasting, you'll say I have just one meal start of the day and then another in the end. And there are different formulae for different people because it depends on a constitution. But I'm trying to generalize certain points without diluting the impact so that you can keep it light and yet you can enjoy. So it's your morning. And when you're on the go, most of the time we are housed, if we are on the go as in your work, people generally grab a glass of water or we push our children to having glass of milk or something like that and rush. Milk is not one of the first things to have in the morning, first of all. Well, your continental breakfast, yes, that milk and cornflakes is out of the bin, right? Why? Because milk is very heavy to digest. It's not the lightest thing to digest. And in the mornings, when your body is actually, if you understand a little bit of kapha, vata and pitta, which I will put very simply to you, mucus, the mucousy part of our body, not the one in your nose, but inside the body, there's a whole lot of phlegm, there's a whole lot of mucus. All your body parts are covered with a lining of mucus, of course, to protect it and have its own function. So this mucus is high or the phlegm is high in the morning. So that's when you cannot digest heavy food. If you have things like milk and milk products in the morning, you will put on weight. So if it's your holiday and you're going out and you're going to have loads and loads of milk and paneer and curds in the morning, then it's not going to work. Oh, you'll tell me I'm going to Punjab, I'm traveling to Jammu where I'm going to get parathas in the morning and it'll be served with dahi. Skip the dahi. It's very simple. So we need to be very specific about what we are going to put in. So that's the first part. So heavy foods in the morning is not there. Then what is it that you're going to have? Well, there are different people, different formulae, but one of the good things that you can start is on a fruit. And fruits you can carry, dry fruits you can carry. They're easy to carry and always carry. First thing in the morning, banana. Well, not for people who have a tendency to put on weight, because banana in the morning can actually cause you to put on weight, though it's extremely nutritious. 100 calories is all that you get with one medium-sized banana. And it's good, but yes, the Ilaichi Kela, what we call as the smaller variety, you can have 2 of that in the morning. So that's a very quick energy, it gives you energy, gets you on the go, and it helps your digestive system. It's got a bunch of vitamins and minerals which are helpful. So fruit is a good thing, but not citrus. Oh, now that orange juice is out of the bin. The continental breakfast, oranges and orange juice, well, not before 9 a.m. What's so holy about 9 a.m.? Nothing's holy. I told you a while ago, your body is rising with the sun. The body is going to take time for that metabolism and that acid to be formed to digest it. If you're going to load it with citrus at the start of the day, it's not going to work. You will have problems of acidity. So on the move, if it is a juice, first of all, as long as you have teeth in the mouth, juices are out. Because when you eat a fruit, you will eat 1 whole fruit, maximum 2 if it's a small fruit. But when it comes to a juice, to have a glass full of juice, how many apples or how many fruits do you think would go into it? You can put that into the chat box and answer. So 1 glass of juice would take you approximately how many fruits? If it's an apple or an orange, or if it's a, let's say, mango, any of these. Yes, 4 oranges. Now, if you, yes, 3 to 4, correct. You're right, Shalaka ji. So now, in this case, if you're going to overload yourself with 3 to 4 oranges through the juice, you're going to overload yourself with something good. But remember, we say this in Sanskrit, Ati sarvatra varjayet. Excess of anything is harmful. Now, 3 or 4 oranges is going to load you with something called as fructose. Fructose is good. It's going to just break down into water and carbon dioxide. So it's not going to, add to the fat in your body. But excess of fruit is going to cause your body to, is going to cause a lot of fructooligosaccharides to be formed. And this can be dangerous. Okay, don't go into what that means, how it is, but why I'm saying these certain names is because I'm going to come to a small and important part after I move on, when I'm going to talk about, these nutrition bars or the breakfast bars that you have, the cereal bars that you get. So loading yourself with a couple of fruits doesn't help. You would rather have pieces of fruit, just which would come to 1 whole apple, 1 whole banana, 1 whole whatever fruit. Okay, now, yes, of course, when it's grapes, it's going to be fewer grapes. You're not going to be loading yourself with that whole bunch of grapes, but just about a couple of 7 to 10 grapes. So fruits is something that you can carry. Now, fruit, where I'm talking of fruit, it's specific because you can have fruit at different times of the day, which means to say you can have fruit at a breakfast, early breakfast. If you are going to leave early, you want to catch a flight, you're on the move, you need to have something, you can grab a fruit. You can have it as a snack, mid-morning snack around 11. You can have it around 4, right? You can have any of these. Now, when you're on the move and you've had your fruit, obviously you're thinking now, what's the next meal and how am I going to take care of it? Okay, so remember one very important thing. It doesn't matter what you eat. It matters how much you eat. Well, it does matter what you eat, but when you are going to travel and you want to enjoy different cuisines of different parts of the world, at that time, you can enjoy it. You can have it without guilt and without it affecting your health, provided it is measurable. So from specific, we move to the next one of smart, which is measurable. Now, have it in portion. Most of the time, what goes haywire is we mess up our proportions. We mess up our portions. So if you're going to have it in a particular portion, a small portion, it's fine. You have the taste, you enjoy it, and at the same time, you don't go overboard. Most of the time, even a pizza, You can have it sometimes, you can have a pizza for lunch, but not the whole thing. Share it. That way you can enjoy with your friends as well. And at the same time, don't overload yourself. You might crave, or you can see only there's a samosa there. What can I do? I have to eat this. There's no other option. Eat it. It's around 300 odd calories. And as a whole food, you're getting the aloo, you're getting some carbohydrate. It's fried because the carbohydrate has to get digested. There's fat there and there'll be some peas, whatever it is. It may not be nutritionally very high, but one samosa, then that's your lunch. You can't have everything around it. So when you're on the move, you can eat all these things. It may not necessarily be exactly what you think should be the best and the healthiest of food, but this is not going to mess up with your health if you just have one. If you're going to go overboard and have 2 or 3, or along with that samosa, you're going to have something more, then it's not going to work. So if you want to keep it limited, you have to keep your portions as required, small portions. Remember one thing, your stomach is just this big. Yeah, this big. That means the size of your palm. This is your heart. The size of the fist is your heart. The size of the palm is your stomach. Now divide your stomach into 4 parts, right? 2 parts for solid, 1 part for liquid, and 1 part left free. Why? Not to put in that dessert that you love at the end, but for this mixer to work. You know, there's a whole lot of churning happening in your stomach, right? So that happens when you have this space. That is why in Marathi we say Savakash kha. Savakash means not slowly. Yes, it is slowly, but avakash means space. So keep space. You have a mixer at home. You keep a head space, right, for it to mix. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So this digestion is not going to happen if you don't leave the 1/4 empty. So when you're on the go, remember, don't stuff yourself, and even otherwise. 2 parts solid, 1 part liquid, and 1 part free. Most of the time say, oh, that's free because later when something interesting comes in, there's some space to go in. Well, that's not it. So when you're on the move, whatever you eat, remember this formula. Keep it 2 parts solid, 1 part liquid, and 1 part empty. Now, when we are looking at the portions here, if your size of the plate is 10 times the size of your stomach, what's going to happen? Whether you're on the go or whether you're at home, you're still going to go on putting on weight, on putting on fat, because the cells that store fat in our body, we call them by a name called adipocytes, but without the jargon, these are like elastic, go on stretching. So they get overloaded, right? The fat gets deposited in them. So if you don't want fat to get deposited in them and make them swollen, then you need to keep the portions small. So remember the size of your stomach, and here on, decide the size of your plate and the food that goes in. Okay, the plate is a big size. Portions have to be so small that you can eat more, as much as you like. I mean, whatever you like, but at the same time, it doesn't go beyond this. So portions have to be small, very important. So measurable. So now when your goal is to keep a good health, you remember that the food that you have is also in a measured quantity. While these are for the goal, they are all applicable for the food. Now, the next is achievable. You want achievable targets, right? What is your target? Health, good health. Now in food, what is it that about food that you're going to achieve? You're going to achieve being able to follow your entire food plan for the day. Because once you follow it for the first day, you can follow it for the second, and slowly it becomes a habit. And ultimately, life is all about habits, right? We know that everybody has 24 hours in a day, but what you do in those 24 hours, how you handle it is about your habits. So likewise about your food. There is a whole lot of food. You can eat all that you like, but the habit is to keep it small. The habit is to keep this at the back of our mind, that whatever is my plan for my daily requirement is met. So when I'm looking at on the move, most often something that happens is once you see food, you're hungry. Because there's food all around us. Wherever you go, you see food. I'm not talking about just the fruit carts, but everywhere you go, there are advertisements, there are banners, and there are all kinds of hotels and things that tell you, that keep reminding you food. So food is constantly at the back of your mind, right? And where your focus goes, there the energy flows. So if your focus is on food, all your energy is going to be about food, right? Now, in this case, when you're bombarded with so much of food ideas from all around, what is important is to make your food plan achievable. To make it achievable, you need to remember that it's not that you're hungry all the time. Most often it is thirst. but we don't recognize thirst. You know why? Because most of the time we are sitting in air-conditioned rooms, air-conditioned offices, air-conditioned cars or coaches or wherever you're traveling, right? So the sensation, the natural sensation of thirst is lost. And that is why we don't really feel thirsty. Suddenly you remember, oh, I haven't had water, and then you drink water. But the sensor of thirst is lost. And most of the time we mix it up with hunger. And that is why every time you see food, you think you're hungry, but you're not. So the stomach doesn't remember, inside, once you put the food in, the stomach doesn't know, have you put in chapati? Have you put in jaggery? Have you put in sugar? Have you put in salt? Have you put in sabzi? Have you put in dal? No, there's no sensation. So if you put in water, something has gone in. So remember, when you're on the move, it's not simply about being hydrated for your hair and your skin and all that, but your body needs the water. And this is another way in which you stay away from unnecessarily eating. Because today, most of the people are obese because they are eating in between. Before the first meal is digested, we are eating the second meal. So when you're on the go, you're constantly eating because you think you're hungry. But drink water instead. No colored fluids, no juices. We spoke about juices earlier, right? So you have specific foods. What are you going to eat? Foods that are light. Lot of things apart from fruits. Now this is almost a mid-time snack time. So what will you eat? All of us have heard of amaranth, rasgira, right? So one rasgira laddu. Rasgira is a meal in itself. Amaranth is a meal in itself. When you have nothing, and suppose you don't have to fast to eat these amaranth laddus, okay? Rasgira laddu, chikki, these are extremely wholesome. And rasgira is a full meal. In Bihar, etc., you will see that people actually in the morning, they have this rasgira with hot water. They make a gruel kind of it with hot water or with milk and add honey or something with it and have it. So rasgira is a meal in itself. It's rich in iron, calcium, gives you nutrition. It's high fiber content. And at the same time, sufficient amount of protein, which means if you're looking at it from that formula of carbs and proteins and all that, then too, your demands are satisfied, are fulfilled. So please remember that Rajgira is a meal in itself. So always you can carry some Rajgira laddu, you can carry a packet of Rajgira chikki. These are available and it has peanut in it, groundnuts in it. So that also takes care of the required amount of fat that is there. Now, sometimes I know that it's not possible to prepare all this. It's fine. You can carry it. These are Indian foods. They go well with your system, what we call in Sanskrit or in Ayurveda as satmya. Satmya means what you're used to, what your DNA of the body is used to, that kind of food, So remember to keep it close to that. I won't say always have it, but you can do that. So another thing that you can carry is chikki, variety of chikkis, of nuts. You can have, depending on the season, of course. Now it's closer to winter time. And if it does get cool, you can have til chikki or gajak. That gajak is prepared during this time. So carry these foods. We call them functional foods. We call them foods that are nutritious and they give you that much energy with just small quantities. So portion and at the same time, the kind of food. So you can carry chikki, you can carry gajak. Then you can carry all these laddus, little laddus, til laddus you can carry. Remember that our traditional meals have been defined or designed in such a way that a besan laddu, a moong laddu, they help. How? Because you'll see that there is a good proportion, correct proportion of the sugar or the jaggery and the protein part, which comes either from the chana dal, the moong dal, or any of these. So carry some of these laddus. In winter, you can carry dink laddu. That is with the gum arabica. So these are very nutritious. And there are when I talk about nutrition, remember that nutrition is a part of a whole. It's always good to look at the whole picture. Remember, when you eat Indian foods prepared by people who, those what we say as homemade food vendors, it helps the economy. I am not against any big name. Okay, they are all in their place. But remember that when you eat, you are affecting the economy also. So eat Indian, traditional Indian functional foods if you're if you're Indian and you're in India. Well, if you're outside, eat what grows there. Eat local, whatever is grown in that area. So when you're on the move, carry these things. Now, I know that you might sometimes find it very difficult to get all of these. You do get ready-made packs if you're some of those packaged type of foods, but as far as possible, avoid packaged food. Of course, on the move, you can carry remember to check labels when you carry. These days you get Food Right and some of these, small kind of Rajgira cookie kind of a thing, but it has, thankfully, it does not have too much of maida, because most of the time wheat, that is refined flour, is used as a binder. So it's difficult to stay away from it, but as far as possible, stay away from it, because it sticks not only just to the lining of the intestine and all, it messes up with your hair, your eyesight, and in general, the body health. Remember to ensure that you're having a lot of fiber-rich food. So fiber-rich food. Carry cucumber. You can carry carrot, cucumber. Just skin it and carry it. You can have that good amount of fiber you get from fiber you get from foods, especially during travel. Where we compromise on is fiber, because you tend to eat foods that are sticky, like prepared from refined flour and all these. And what you actually are, and most of the gravies and all are thick when you're eating outside, or if you're you're in the part of the world which is not Indian, you might be eating a load of wheat flour, lot of cheese and sauces and all. And what we compromise on is fiber. So for fiber, keep these dry fruits are handy. You can have anjeer, dry fig. One dry fig, or at the most two, can give you the satiety of having eaten a small meal. Don't believe me? Try it. So sometimes at midnight, you're sitting with your friends. One, you can't help it on the go when you're traveling with your friends and all. Have one or two anjeer, dry fig. That keeps you going rather than, yes, I will. Well, there is lots to speak, but and given the topic and the time, yes, as a particular challenge, I will talk about PCOS. And in fact, what I'm saying here up till now, whatever I mentioned about the kind of foods, people who are suffering from PCOS, PCOD can have this. One of the lighter things that you can have is cucumber. Like I said, for PCOS also. PCOS people should just stay away from milk and milk products. Completely away from milk and milk products. Potatoes, out. Okay. And refined flour. Keeps it simple. So you can carry cucumber, you can carry carrot, and you can just crunch it. You don't have to slice it and all those. If you wash it well, have it with the skin, because all the nutrients are in the skin. So if you're peeling off your cucumbers, you're losing on a whole lot of vitamins and minerals, water-soluble vitamins and minerals. And if you're skinning the carrots, then too. Yes, I know today you're talking of pesticide and all, but we do have ways in which you can clean this up. So if you are carrying it, when you leave itself, you can carry a couple of this. It doesn't add too much to the weight. Okay. And if at all you think it does, no worries. You can always buy this locally. So wherever you go locally, these are available. You just have to buy it once because it serves you for 4 days. If you buy a quarter kg, you're going to get 4 kakadis or 3 to 4 kakadi cucumbers. You get 3 to 4 carrots, and you can have those 3-4 days that you are traveling in different, parts of the day. It acts as a very good midday snack. Again, tomatoes. Tomatoes are also good to have. They are high in lycopene, which is an anti-cancerous agent, which is really good for health. Okay, so if you can have tomatoes. What I'm trying to say is natural foods at the most is the best to have. But yes, there's a challenge. Find the alternative. We have so many alternatives. It's just that we don't think that much. We don't give it much of a thought. That's the problem. If you have to stop somewhere for it, you can ask for a bowl of fresh fruit. That is, just ask them to give you 1 apple or one of these fruits. You can do that. Yes, soaking them will help. Put salt whenever you want to clean these carrots and cucumbers. Put it in a bowl of water, put a little bit of salt to it, and leave them in that. After having washed them normally, leave them in it for a few minutes. But of course, if we are on the move and you don't have time for all this, you just need to plan it a little bit of planning, which ultimately life is all about planning it right. So you can do that, right? Yes, you can. You have a lot of solutions these days which come to take away the pesticides and all, but stay as much as possible. We stay away from chemicals. Another thing that you can use is alum. Alum, in Marathi we call it turti. Okay, alum. So alum, a pinch of alum in the alum powder in the water also can help, or just put it around. But again, you're not at home, you're on the go, you're not going to be carrying alum, etc. So if you're carrying this with you, you can do this at home and then carry it just like that and eat it on the go. Then the other things that you can have are a lot of seeds. Okay, there was a time, I don't know about you, but in my childhood, we used to have this fashion of eating a lot of seeds. And then suddenly in the last 20 years or so, 20-30 years or so, it stopped. And now once again, it's back. So some of these seeds, you can carry seeds like pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. They're extremely high in nutrition. I'm sorry. So they're high in nutrition and they keep you feeling full. They have a lot of fiber. Okay. So you can have a lot of these. You can carry these seeds. You can carry an assortment, or you can just carry whatever you like, what goes with your system. So pumpkin seeds, then you have watermelon or cucumber seeds. Then you have alsi. Alsi is also extremely good, high in omega-3. It's a vegetarian source of omega-3 fatty acid, really very helpful. Till seeds. So that's why you will see our mukwas and all have all these things, because they give you all those nutrients that are required. So you can carry a little bit of this. One spoonful of the mix of seeds is sufficient to, actually keep you going. But you think not. You know why? Because most of the time we just gulp it. The more you chew your food, the higher the feeling of satiety. You may remember that earlier you may have been told, chew your food 32 times. Why? Because let each tooth, experience it, because you have 32 teeth. That's not the point. The point is, when you chew lots, there is beta amylase and enzymes that are produced in the mouth. So you have to chew it so much that it becomes a liquid. And that is why we always say, drink your solids and eat your liquids. Okay. So drink your solids. So chew it so much that it becomes a slurry, a very thin slurry, and then you swallow it. So how long does it take? Well, we need a good 20 minutes to feel a feeling of satiety. Okay. If you're going to gulp that apple or chew that apple and put it down in 2 minutes, in 5 minutes, which we normally do, are you going to feel full? No. Obviously, you will crave for other food. So eating smart is very important. Right? Now we go on to what is relevant. We have been talking of relevant foods. So all the foods that we've been talking are relevant, are healthy, are tasty. What happens to those wafers? What happens to those veggies? What happens to all those pizzas and burgers and all that? You really need them. If you can feel full and you can feel happy eating these foods, you don't really need them. But yes, like I said at the start, you do crave for it. Once in a way is not once every day. So when you're on the go, yes, you are with your family, everyone might want to have some pizza or burger or whatever. But remember that one is your whole meal, which means you're not going to have another 10 things with it. You have if I give you a general kind of a thing, when we are looking at a burger, when you're looking at one sev puri, around 330 calories, another bhel, around that much, one samosa, around that much. Most of these are around 350 calories, which is like your one whole meal. Your one whole meal should not exceed 500 calories. That's your lunch, okay? Lunch or dinner. Because if you have lunch or dinner, which is exceeding that, everything that extra that you're going to eat is going to be stored as fat if you're not moving around and burning it, right? And in a travel, on your journey, if you're traveling by some mode of transport and your activity is reduced, remember, the amount of calories that go in, if you're looking at in terms of calories, have to be smaller. Therefore, the portion size. Therefore, the kind of food. So if you crave a burger, eat it, but chew it well. So you don't need all those French fries around it. You don't need to have the Coke around it. What's the liquid that goes in? Water. You don't want to unnecessarily load yourself with 32 grams of sugar and 1 glass of cola, do you? And then feel guilty about it. So it doesn't make any sense. So what is relevant? Relevant is eating that as the whole meal for your lunch or your dinner. As your mid snack, if you're going to have that, it's going to be too heavy. So you'll have to skip some part of your meal. Now, what is the next thing? Is time bound. Very important. Very important. What is it that you're eating? How is it that you're eating? When is it that you're eating? Any solid that has to go into your system before sunset. After sunset, no solids. Have soups. You get good soups. Have liquid foods. You can have some shake. Well, not shakes as in not fruit shakes, okay? Please remember that milk and fruit don't go together. The only milk and fruit that can go together is one is Amla, Indian gooseberry, and the other is mango if it is sweet. Otherwise, milkshakes are the worst thing you can give your body. Okay, the worst thing. And especially if there are youngsters here on this group, then please, 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 I know you're tempted to have shakes and all that. But remember, if it's going to be a milk shake, as in animal milk, like cow milk or buffalo milk, then that and fruit is completely out. Oh, someone will ask me, what about almond milk? Maximum number of almonds that you can eat in a day should not exceed 5 or 7. Otherwise, you get constipation. And that to soak them in water, remove the chilka, remove the skin, and then have it. Well, solids before sunset, no milk and fruit together. Your chiku milkshake, banana milkshake, and all these things are out of the window. Yes, once in a way is not once every day. When you have this kind of mess up, yes, except mango and amla. Okay. When you have this kind of a mess up, remember that to take care of such mess ups, load yourself with fiber. Doesn't mean that you just load yourself with fiber every day and mess up every day. Okay. Once in a way is not once every day. So when you're on the go, there is lots that you can carry. Okay, I haven't spoken of something very important. Have you heard of laya? We call these as puffs. Don't mix this with your murmura. Murmura, no. I'm talking of rice laya or jwari laya. These are puffs like you have your popcorn. Like that, these are pop jwari, that is a millet, pop rice, okay, or you have pop nachni. So and this rajgira, of course, is popped. So these are very, very light, very, very nutritious. Yeah. So yes, of course, if you eat less, that cause of most illness is food, it's the stomach. Every illness, if it is not congenital, means not at birth, then it originates in the stomach. Your headache originates in the stomach, your leg pain originates in the stomach, your bone ache originates in the stomach. Everything originates in the stomach because what goes into the stomach is what you eat, right? Every single disease, if it is not congenital, is originating in your stomach. So if you are thinking, are you crazy? Are you talking of mental illness beginning in the stomach? Yes, because the kind of food you eat will determine the kind of biochemicals that are produced in the body, the kind of hormones that are secreted from your endocrine glands, and they are the ones which will change your temperament. Now, you want to change this, change in any physical activity will change your mental state. And that is why when you are on the move, ensure that you are changing your physical position every 30 minutes. Because when you're long travel, I know you have to be seated in a flight. Sometimes at least wriggle your toes, move these are instructions that you all know. Now, yes, I'm sure this may have stemmed a whole lot of questions, a gamut of questions, which may move out of the topic for today. I'm trying to take care of all your questions and still bring them in the realm of the topic. But if at any point in time, you think that it's going to, be an overdose, we could request for other sessions eventually, because about food, you cannot talk in whatever 40 minutes. It's about your life. Food and life go hand in hand. Only we need to manage it, right? So when we are looking at specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, solids after sunset, if you just stop that much, those of you here on, have this weight gain issues and fat gain issues, don't go just by weight, okay? Because weight might show you whatever, the same thing over years and you'll be very complacent about it. It's the fat inside the body that is getting deposited that makes all the mess up, okay? So one of the, there are many ways to keep that at bay, but what I'm trying to say is keep the solids minimum after sunset, okay, latest by 7 or 8. I know that in a city like or the current situation that we have and the times that we live in, it may be a little far-fetched, but I'm sure you all know of Jain communities who still follow this. They eat by the sun. And I think it's very, very important to follow that. If we just follow that basic thing, by eating by the sun, rise with the sun, set with the sun, sleep by 10. Even sometimes I don't do it when I'm traveling, but try to sleep by 10 so that, you don't eat. The reason for sleeping at 10 for us to make it practical is that we don't eat, because once you stay awake, after every 3 hours, you're going to feel hungry, 3 to 4 hours. Okay. So if you've had your last meal by 7 or 8, if you stay up till 11, obviously it's going to be a time for a midnight snack. And if you're going to have a midnight snack, you're doing yourself the worst thing you can do. Anything that you eat after 8 or 9 is going to be only poison for your body. Your body can't digest it. You will be sluggish when you wake up. I'm sorry, I'm saying this very, very fast, just to give you that little more bit in before Gitanjali ji tells me, Ruchita, your time is up, and I wouldn't like that to happen. So remember one thing, that midnight snacks, bad. Whether you're on a holiday or whether you're anywhere, make sure that you eat the last meal by at least 8, 8:30. So you're 9, 9:30, call for your dinner meets earlier. No problem. Call your friends earlier. Give them health. Let them also be blessed with good health. So see what happens when you have milk at midnight. If at all you really have to have something at midnight, have a dry fig. Have a dry fig. Okay. When you have milk at midnight, milk takes about 1.5 hours to digest. Because after you had that milk, you're not going to stay up. If you have the milk and sleep, then what's going to happen? There's going to be acidity and there'll be gas formation. So the next day you will have flatulence, right? So it's best to have milk by about 7:30, 8, like the last bit. But if at all you really, cannot do, then yes, it will keep you feeling full for some time, so you can have it. But then stay up for a while because that milk should digest. Otherwise, you will get acidity, and then there'll be a rebound acidity eventually. And then that once acidity comes in, it's an invitation, open invitation for a whole lot of problems. So it's best to be very conservative in having milk. Milk actually, have you seen animals? Animal drinks milk of its mother only after it's born, and a few days after that it suckles. After that it's over. It's only this human who needs to have animal milk, that too of another type, throughout the life. Why? Where has it come from? We don't really need it. We don't need it. You get calcium, enough calcium from Rajgira. You get enough calcium from Ragi. Coming to this, okay, rheumatism. So when it is for rheumatism, see, most of this, what I'm saying, is irrespective of the ailment, These are general things and they actually go well with all. Because what is rheumatism? Rheumatism is increase in acidity. And then eventually, vata, that is imbalance of vata, that is the wind element. Okay, flatulence, the air part, the wind part of it. So anything that you want to keep at bay, you need to keep these fellows balanced. And to keep these balanced, you have to follow the pattern. Now, when you have an ailment, you have to stay away from certain foods. Why? To bring it to normal. Once you get it to normal, you can. Rheumatism, eat a lot of ragi, nachni. You can eat nachni. Roti, you can have nachni, rajgira. These are good. These will help keep things at bay. Somebody asked me a question on gluten. 1 minute. Can I just check that in the chat box before I answer that?
Sure. Yeah. We have some very good questions in the chat box, Ruchita, and you can please go on till 8:55. It's like
okay. Thank you
so much. Amazing things.
Sweet chapati has gluten. Should it be sticky? See, look, this fad of gluten and all is all now. Don't, like I said, look at your food as a whole. If we have to eat, if you've been eating it, if you're from the northern part of the country where wheat grows in abundance and for years, you've been eating wheat, then suddenly saying because it has gluten, because it has this, because it has that, one simple thing, with due respect to all doctors, most of the doctors don't know about nutrition. They will tell you all fancy things without understanding foods. Look at foods as a whole. Food is your medicine. Food can be your medicine, but eat in small quantities. We mess up the quantities and proportions and then everything goes out of sync. Then you got to stay away from it. If you have to refrain from something, it's because you've gone overboard earlier. So if you don't go overboard to start with, then you don't need to refrain from things. You have it in limitation. Okay, while I was talking about rheumatism, and also I want to say this for those, because a lot of people have problems of acidity, have raisins, carry raisins with you. See, among the nuts, never mix nuts and fruits. Okay, never mix nuts and fruits, which means if you have raisin, munakka, whether you have khajur, that is a fruit. Whether you have apricot, it's a fruit. Dry fruit, fig is a dry fruit. Don't mix up the nuts. Your kaju, badam, pista, walnut, these are nuts, hazelnut and whatever nut, peanut. Don't mix them. And after nuts, never have water. Never drink water over a nut. If you have eaten some groundnuts, hang on for about half an hour or so. Don't drink water. Always black raisins are the best. Okay, if you have the black raisins, acts as medicine, and if they have seeds, even better because you get fiber, right? So have black raisins. Black raisin keeps acidity at bay. Soak about a couple of raisins, about 7-8 raisins or 10 raisins at night, and in the morning drink the water, chew the raisins. Okay, if you have super hyper acidity, you can have this twice a day. All right, you can soak in the morning and then have them around 3 p.m., 4 p.m. or whatever. Important is to soak them. You can have them just like that as well. But when you have acidity and you soak them and have it, it's even better. But otherwise, you can have 7-8 of them on the move. It's best because it gives you, if you have a sweet tooth and you crave sweet, that raisin sweetness keeps you going good. And at the same time, it's nutritious without adding calories to it. Okay, so foods that will not really load you, but at the same time keep you feeling full is cucumber, carrot, tomato. But I normally don't recommend eating too much of these for those who have flatulence, rheumatism, and all these. Wherever vata is imbalanced, avoid eating raw foods. Okay, salads and all. Please remember how we have salads is traditionally we put a tadka over it. That heat will change its properties. Most often, you will see that it's the processing of the food which is most important and given the least importance. Okay, stay away from baked foods, cookies, biscuits, out. Only have them when there is nothing else to eat. If you're going to die, there is nothing else to eat it. Otherwise, away. All right. Yes, but these days, please always read the nutrition labels, because there will be some things there which will tell you whether to eat it or not to eat it. Right? If it is loaded with refined flour, wheat flour and all, out. Right? So you have to read labels when it comes to packaged foods. As far as possible, stay away from packaged foods. Because of the stabilizers, the preservatives, and all these that are there in it, it's better to stay away from them. All right. What was the question on metals there? 1 second. Can I just check that? There is a fat to drink water, metabolism. No. See, there is something called as oligodynamic action of metals. Okay. Forget the technical term. In our Indian tradition, you will see after the child is born, they use a gold ring or something, dip honey, and then they chatate hain, just that much. Gold, silver, copper are extremely important for certain specific activities, biochemical activities in the body. Silver, if you put silver, copper, and all these will actually prevent the growth of bacteria. They're antibacterial, antifungal, some of these. But you're supposed to have them different seasons. You can't have one copper vessel in which you store water and have it throughout the year. It will do more harm than good. Only certain seasons, you have to use certain metals. Okay, you can drink from a silver glass certain time of the year. You can drink from a copper glass certain time of the year. Never use new metal, especially for pregnant women, little children. Don't use a new metal. Suppose you buy a new fancy glass of metal or silver, don't start using it for the child immediately. Let it leach. Let the excess chemical out of it, the metal out of it leach. That is why they always say use old vessels, old iron vessels. Make your leafy vegetable sabzis in iron vessels. They will add to the iron content of the leafy vegetable. Okay, but these should be old. That is why we have a processing of when you buy a new metal pot, we don't use it directly. I don't know whether you know this, but traditionally, you will see that it is soaked, or you will use, you will keep it, line it with certain things. Sometimes it is lined with, like you have a beater, that the girdle that we use, tawa, the thick girdle, which is black in color, right? That one, we never use it directly. We buy it, we season it with oil, put oil and keep it. You use onion and put it, one, that so it acts as a non-stick. Second, allows that excess leaching of the chemical that is there, metal that is there, and then use it. Okay. So everything that is made in a certain way needs a particular processing before we use it. So this will go on and on. I have only 3 minutes left. So in these 3 minutes, let me quickly just I'll take your questions, whatever are there, I shall take them, and I'll connect it to what I'm speaking about and do. See, there is nothing like why no wheat flour. I said no refined flour. Refined wheat flour means maida. Okay, refined wheat flour is maida. Wheat, whole wheat, yes, you can use. A bran, you can use. But remember not to go overboard with anything. If you do everything, if you can eat and enjoy life with food, with everything, if you keep the portions small, okay, unless you are already suffering from some ailment, then you have to stay away from it. Like, for instance, if you are suffering from diabetes and all, you avoid having, no, 365 days, you see, it is good for health. But if you are going to have in, I think in winter, you can avoid using that and you switch to normal this thing. Silver is not bad. Silver, you can eat in a silver plate throughout your life also. So silver is not bad. Silver is less, is less active, less reactive. It is more inert. So it's okay. Okay. Which metal to use when you can use your normal steel vessels. Okay. If you are using in summer, you can use copper. Copper you can eat. What to eat for bone health? That was okay. Bone health, Rasgira, ragi, nachni, what is that? Millet, red millet, nachni, nagli. This is the same name. I'm just giving you, it's the same thing. I'm giving you the different names depending on which part of the country you come from and are familiar with it. Nachni, nagli, and red millet. That's the same thing. Okay. So you can have that very high in calcium content. You can have Rajgira. Rajgira is very light on the body and also very good. Other things that you can have are leafy vegetables. Amaranth, leafy vegetable you can have. Again, it's the same thing. Rajgira is amaranth. It's leafy vegetable, good in calcium content. Okay, you can have til. Til you can have. Til is extremely good. But remember with til, when you make til laddus this time, please remember that roast the til laddus. Okay, when you wash, first wash the til, the til, not the til laddus. Wash the til, place it to dry. After they are dried, roast it or, just winnow it a bit so that the flaky part goes away. This flaky part contains high amount of phosphoric acid, which can eventually, phosphoric and oxalic acid, which can lead to gout, which it's not that the quantity is so high, but that is why they are processed like this. So when you are buying ready-made, you won't know. But if you are making it at home, wash the til, place it dried. After that, just winnow it a bit, roast it. And after roasting it, just, winnow it so that the flakes, outer skin, which is very, very thin, flaky layer, that goes away. And then make your til laddus. Then you will not have any of these problems. Likewise with almond, remove the skin so that it doesn't inhibit protein absorption. So these are small things that we need to know about our foods so that we handle them better and treat them with little more respect as we expect ourselves to be treated. Okay. So yes, you get them ready-made, but then I cannot assure you that they will have all that thing gone. So I continue to make it at home because it's helpful. So I know, Gitanjali ji, it is 8:55, and thank you so much for the opportunity to interact with everyone.
Ruchita ji, thank you so much. You've packed in so much in just this 40 minutes. Unbelievable. And I'm sure everybody's feeling we need 5 more sessions with you on different topics. You've gone into details of everything. Thank you so much. And Darshana, I'll hand it over to you to please do the vote of thanks and to go further the next session. Darshana, please. I think she's frozen, but I cannot thank you enough, Ruchita ji, from everyone over here. Itna precise session, telling us nuggets. I've tried and posted all the takeaways, but yes, more session, Amit is saying. So, Darshana, are you back?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, please.
Oh, hello.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello? Am I? Okay. Perfect. So I'm sorry, there is a little bit of internet.
Okay, while she's preparing, I'll also ask you, everyone here, what are the topics you'd like to take up with Ruchita ji? So she is prepared for the next coming year. You must post in Heart to Heart.
As per the season, Gitanjali, as per the season, what should we eat? Because I feel in every season, Vat, Kaph and Pitta has a different level. So if we get a complete guidance on diet on season wise, this is hope. We know this, but it is reminder kind of thing.
Perfect.
Hello. Yeah, I would like to have a talk on something like I have started having joint pains and rheumat and beginning of that. So I just wanted to ask her. I posted also one question. Till I think I heard that it has a lot of calcium. So can we have till raw? We used to have it sprinkle on a salad. 1 spoon of till, white till. Sesame seeds.
Always roast and put it. You can have it, like I said a while ago, always roast. It's best to always have these nuts and all roasted. And yes, for those of you who said that multiple sessions and all, there's a session I do called Yukta Ahara, which takes into account all these aspects that you do. It is a series. You can discuss it with Gitanjali ji and we can see how it can be.
Certainly, I think next year.
Ruchita ji, it was excellent. I have to leave now. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It was a very good session. It was
Great
a very
session,
good
Ruchita ji. I think on Plan to Win's behalf, everybody is thanking you.
Thank you
And
so much.
let me share with you that Plan to Win is a place where you can create your goals and set your goals, set your life management systems. I will invite you all for a very powerful tomorrow session, Sunday session in the morning for goal setting. If you want to know more, you can join the community. The link is shared on the chat box. If you want to connect with Ruchita ji, also join the community. We'll make sure your questions are answered. after that. And she has a YouTube channel. Ruchita ji, would you like to give your YouTube channel on the chat box? That would
Yes,
help us.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here I'm back, but I am logged in from mobile. Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, Darshana, we can hear you. Go on, please.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Darshana, you're audible.
Perfect. Yeah. So I really want to take this opportunity and thank you, Ruchita. And you are one of my favorite speaker, and you actually, have given so much in this gathering. And I'm sure that questions are pouring from all sides. So Ruchita, we would like to invite you one more time, and many times to share your wisdom. And I have been getting so many responses on my chat as well, looking at your profile, the amount of information you have, and so meticulous about everything that you speak, so thank you Ruchita for it. And I'm sure that you more. So really grateful. And Ruchita, let me tell you, you have been phenomenal, looking gorgeous, and you really got us mesmerized in that conversation. So
Thank you so much.
for everybody else, yeah. And for everybody else who is here, guys, do join our WhatsApp group. I wanted to tell you something very important, and I wanted to show you something phenomenal, like Plan to Win. As a community, we not only give you all these important sessions, but we have a monthly coaching program as well. And tomorrow we are going to do something extraordinary. And I wanted to show you a workbook. We have created a 33 pages workbook, which we are going to give to everybody who is participating in tomorrow's session. So details of that will be shared on the Heart to Heart group. Keep watching for that kind of update. Any question, you can contact me. My name is Darshana, and my number will be also displayed on the WhatsApp group. Thank you, Gitanjali. Thank you for hosting these wonderful expert sessions, and a Saturday morning and a Christmas morning. All these people have joined in. Ruchita, this is into 100, okay? So
Yes.
once again.
Okay. Yeah, nice to know. Nice to know.
Yeah.
And
So
thank you,
Ruchita is also on
Darshana,
our
for
group,
this
guys. You can
space.
ask her questions on the group as well.
Yes, and thank you, Darshana, for the space of Plan to Win, for creating and seeding this idea and getting it to this kind of a quality where everyone is getting benefited. Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow. See you on Sunday, 8 to 11 for the goal setting workshop. For more details, please contact any one of us or join the group to know more about it. Have a great,
There's something that happens if
powerful-
we miss the session. I missed the last Sunday session. Sorry, this is not the place to ask, but just that you were here. So
Yeah,
So we are doing the same thing tomorrow, Ruchita. And
Okay.
looking forward to join you tomorrow, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will
love
be
to have
posting all that details. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Over
you
to you,
so much.
Gitanjali.
have a Merry Christmas and a very beautiful, very prosperous, happy, and powerful new year. Let's create a great new year with the goal setting workshops. Thank you, everyone.